Hey everyone, and welcome to Signal from the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We are your hosts, Kicker, the Chief of Serial, and Sigilite of the FLG, and I'm Seth, the Mad Doc, your competitive correspondent. Kicker, bud, how have you been doing?
Yeehaw! I've been painting
Yeehaw.
I've been painting.
We doing that? Oh, we
No,
doing that?
We're not doing our Southern thing. I've been painting Rough Riders like all week long, guys. If you're listening to our podcast, you should be watching our podcast live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not only do you get the cool visual elements, but you get to be part of chat. And this week is especially important because we're going to be talking about all the new shiny stuff we've heard about coming from GW. So, Seth. Hobby Progress, check it out. Can we bring in my Hobby Progress? Look at this. Boom. There are 10 Rough Riders, beautifully based. So honestly,
where are they?
They're coming. They're coming.
I don't see them.
My Rough Riders are still currently sneaking around the flanks of the enemy. They will be here eventually. But Seth, these were the Rough Riders that I had mentioned to you last week that had drew blood on me. I had stabbed myself on the lance.
Those Rough Riders. They're looking good, man.
Well, okay, so that's just the base coats, and they have a lot to go. Honestly, they look kind of crappy. I always think that models look really crappy until you do the first wash, and then they start to look a little bit more
everything when it's unwashed just looks really flat. So
I'm like, oh, geez, did my kid paint these? Probably. But yeah, Seth, that has been what I want to get these done. These are the last models I have to get done before the new edition drops. So I'm like, I got to finish them up. I want a few games with them before we go into 10th. Seth, what have you been up to, man? I mean, any games?
I've been painting as well.
All right,
I've been painting as well. I got some Gretchen done.
Oh yeah,
these are some 3D printed Gretchen from Station Forge. They did different theme Gretchen, so these Gretchen are themed after the Beast Snaga boys. That box set. So I did those up.
Do they have close combat weapons and a pistol? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, they got little pelts and stuff, and so they were cool. And then I finally was able to get my hands on the new Snickrot model. So I did him up, and I had a question for everyone in chat and for Kicker and Nick. If purple smoke, would that make the orc invisible, or would the smoke be invisible and you could see the orc?
Okay, first of all, if I think smoke, I immediately think it's like toxic fumes, and he's like poison gassing himself. Like, I think that's a bad thing. Sorry. I don't think invisibility at all. Is that an orc kind of reference?
Orcs think purple is invisible.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Orcs.
I didn't know that. Okay, so I know red makes fast, purple makes invisible. All right. Nicky D, what do you think, man?
I think this is one of those situations where if the orcs believe hard enough that the purple makes them invisible, then they're invisible, right? There's a lot of stories in 40K that like the only reason the Emperor might actually be alive is the orcs will it into existence, right? It's their belief that red makes them go fast, blue makes them lucky, all those sort of things. So, Seth, I think it's just a matter of, do the orcs believe hard enough that purple makes them invisible? I think that's the determining factor.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I did some purple smoke on his little smoke grenade there on his base. So
I like it though, man. And side tangent here. There should be a children's book all about orcs and their favorite colors and like what they represent. I just see this being like the perfect little kids book. Blue is lucky. Okay, all right. Seth, that looks gorgeous though, man.
I'm gonna need you to write that book for next week, just so we can.
Can it be read by Henry Cavill? Like that, I think would just be absolutely fantastic.
We'll use all of our considerable influence in the community.
Guys, there's a ton of money in children's books, like right, like that's a real industry there. All right, so Henry Cavill, that's your next project.
Yeah. Besides that, I've been watching some TV and some movies. I've been rewatching a series called Food Wars, and then I watched Thor: Love and Thunder. A mistake was made, and then I've just been prepping for a small local GT, which I'm super excited for because it's just a bunch of my longtime like event friends all getting together. It's literally a store that we normally just do like a monthly RTT at, and they're like, "You guys want to do a GT?" And we were like, "Sure." So it's just going to be a lot of hanging out and good times.
Nice, man.
So
looking forward to that. Are you Nick, doing anything crazy with your list? Because it is kind of the end of ninth. Are you just going crazy?
Basically the same list I played last weekend or the other weekend before.
Cool. Well, guys, let's talk a little bit about the industry news, and that starts off with the GW pre-orders. Guys, Gallowdark. This is the last...
Wait. What about what Nick has been up
to? Okay. Well, reel it back in. Let's bring in Nicky.
Hey, okay. Nicky? It's okay. I mean, Kicker, you must be wearing red, just speeding through all the announcements here for today. That's okay.
He wants to get to the fun stuff.
Hey, I mean, guys, there's a lot we're going to talk about, so we'll get there. But no, I'm good. Everybody, I was away last week, but that allowed me some time on a flight to finish reading Thrawn Alliances. one of the more recent Timothy Zahn novels about Grand Admiral Thrawn, really great. And then other nerd-related thing, I have finally finished watching the Harry Potter movies. I had avoided them for a long, long time, just didn't really care for the books when they came out, that sort of thing. I have now officially finished all of the movies. I still have to finish reading 6 of the books, but that's where I'm at. And then I'm trying to
thoughts. Give us your thoughts on Harry Potter. Did you enjoy the movies?
Movie 4 or book 4 was clearly the best in my mind. 3 was really good. 5 was it was kind of like a bell curve if you're a science person, where I think the beginning and the end were kind of lackluster, but those middle movies were absolutely fantastic. Cool. That was my opinion on it. And I've done a number of tests to determine, online tests to figure out which house I belong to. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, guys. Apparently, I am a Slytherin.
Oh shit, you asshole! All right,
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, Seth, wait, are you like totally outside of the Harry Potter? Realm?
I am.
Oh no.
I am.
Okay, that's okay.
I don't dabble.
You don't dabble in Harry Potter. There's just not enough like blood and guts in that. All right, cool.
It just wasn't a thing for me when it came out, and I just never got into it.
Well, Nicky D, army-wise, I know you've been getting a little bit of hobby done because you're prepping for ACO. We know you're going to ACO.
Yes, I am going to ACO in June, so I look forward to seeing Kicker, Seth, you, and everybody from the chat and everybody from the Frontline Gaming community there. I'm in a little bit of a dilemma because I've been playing Chaos Demons since their Codex came out, and there's more hobby I got to do there. I could run out Chaos Demons again, finish 9th that way. I kind of want to go back to Death Guard, though. I started playing 9th edition with Death Guard and podiumed and even won my first event ever playing Death Guard at a local RTT. So I'm kind of thinking that I started 9th with Death Guard. I should finish them with Death Guard, and that I should probably bring out Mortarion. That's where my heart says. That's where my heart is leading me. But we got time to figure that out between now and then.
Cool.
All right, Kicker.
Yes.
Now you can do it. Industry news.
All right, guys. I'm just very excited. So this weekend we're getting the Gallo Dark pre-order. This is the final, Into the Dark themed, Kill Team battle set. A lot of people aren't playing it for Kill Team. They just love the models. And this box set has I think it's got the best models yet. You've got the Space Dwarves, right, with the guy with the knuckle busters and the jetpacks, which everyone can appreciate. But you've got Beastmen, new Beastmen. These things are freaking amazing, and they can all be built as, standardized Beastmen, pistol, close combat weapon, which definitely means that they're going to have rules for 40k of some sort. So you can build them all as specials for Kill Team, or as kind of just generalized Beastmen troops, which I'm sure will be some sort of an infantry squad, which is just so cool. The models have got so much character, and this is the capstone, of this season of Kill Team. So those will be out, and RBDs are coming out as a standalone box. Seth and I, we were just talking about how they're getting faster and faster and faster at releasing the individual kits as opposed to the box sets. So I mean, this is a month and a half. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it can't have been more than 6 weeks.
Yeah. So that's a really fast turnaround from GW. Thank you very much, Games Workshop. And finally, you get the upgrade sprue for the new Kill Team. This is the upgrade sprue that you can pre-order on its own that has the breachable walls. For those of you playing boarding actions or Kill Team, those breachable wall sections are pretty damn sweet. And Seth, we should jump into nerd news, right? Because there's a few things going on. You want to take the first one? Take the first one. This is important.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that one's probably more of a Nicky D.
Okay, Nicky D, take the first one.
Guys, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I hope you have your tickets for this weekend. I am going 11:30 on Saturday morning to see it. There might be a few more children in the crowd than normal for a movie, but that's when I could get my friends together to go see it. I love that movie series, all those characters. Supposedly, it's the last one contractually for a number of the actors. So I'm ready to have my heart broken, and I'm just ready for a good time.
Who's your favorite? Groot? Groot is Groot. Everyone loves Groot.
Oh, no. My favorite, Drax the Destroyer.
All right, cool. I like it.
I have bad news for you. David Bautista's already said he won't do another one without James Gunn.
I know. But that means that we should see him in DC movies in the future, which I'm open to that consideration. I'm open to that consideration.
Seth, you want to take our next topic on nerd news? Because this is important, man. This is a big one.
Is it Transformers Rise of the Beast? I'm not a Transformers fan.
Are you serious? Get out of here. You don't watch Harry Potter.
Right,
you don't
I'll see you guys later.
Just what the What the hell? Like, seriously. All right. I mean, come on, everyone. This has got. Did you ever watch the cartoons? I mean, like the Beast
No,
Wars. Like,
I didn't have cable as a kid. Like I got to exist off the same like 2 or 3 Ninja Turtle VHSs that I had.
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You were deprived, and I really do feel for you. Well, Nicky D, thoughts on the new Transformers? Come on, man. The Rise of the Beast. This is Beast. No.
Yeah,
Yes?
I've been very hit or miss on the Transformers movies, the Michael Bay movies. Some the Bumblebee movie that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
That one was actually pretty good. I
was
did
good.
like that one.
That was
But
good.
I Kicker, you mentioned the Beast Wars TV show.
Yeah.
This is bringing in some of those characters from that TV show. So someone who was born in the 80s but watched Transformers in the 90s, I grew up watching Beast Wars. So I could not be more excited for Optimus Primal, for Rhinox, for A-Razor, for Cheetor. I've got every Cheetor toy from when they were around in the 90s. Oh, they're great. They're great.
Seth is just like,
I could not be more excited.
No.
I'm super
Christmas
hyped
for
for the
me.
next Dune.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
so
let's go there. Let's go there.
Dune. The trailer just dropped.
Yeah.
Yes, go watch it as soon as this is done. Go watch the new Dune trailer. I'm chills. I'm getting chills. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting chills. Did you guys read the books at all?
There's also, we talked about last week. There's a new Flash trailer, but
Yes, there is a new Flash trailer. I know, Seth. That's right. That's up your alley, and you like that. It's got a little bit of Batman in there and whatnot. That's hitting you. But come on, Dune, chills. I read the books and I'm like, wow, this is pretty much how I envisioned it. Like, this is what I want to see. So hopefully this is going to be as good as the first trailer is making it look out to be. Regarding Frontline Gaming news, guys, Full Color Terrain, which you guys have been begging us for, is back online right now. It's out, available, specifically the Urban Corruption Terrain set. I think we're still waiting on the Sisters, but it's as seen as the world's best competitive events at all the top tables. It's our Full Color Urban Corruption Terrain set. And this is part of the Frontline Gaming traveling tournament terrain set. So you'll see that at BAO this month, at ACO, LSO. This is one of the more popular sets. And now you can buy it and bring it home.
It is a very good set.
It's fun.
Very excited to see it out for wide release.
Yeah, people have been really, really patient with us. We had a huge backlog, and we finally caught up with all the wholesale orders for all the different stores and tournament organizers. So now you can get it for your own home play area.
Woo-woo.
BAO. MCP is on fire at BAO. I don't know what happened, but in the past week, MCP just like exploded. So, maybe you don't want to play 40K right now. You want to play something different in your San Francisco area. Come on down and play some MCP. There is a Las Vegas Open MCP qualifier taking place there at the BAO.
Nice.
ACO, dude. That's the other one. We added Conquest. I've never played Conquest, but it looks like a hell of a. Have you seen the Conquest miniatures, Seth?
No, but I have heard a lot of things about Conquest.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are very interested in that game. I know a lot of folks were really into it before we were starting to reach the tail end of 9th, but I know a lot of folks that have jumped into playing it just as like a palate cleanser between the end of 9th and the start of 10th. So very interesting to see that if this is going to be a game system that continues to grow and keeps that momentum, because I've heard a lot of good things about the system as it is, and along with the company and their responsiveness.
Yeah, and that's the thing what you just said, Seth. It's the company, right? The people making Conquest, which is Parabellum Games, they are so engaged with us, the organizers, with the player base. They're pushing it hard and really adapting. So that's why we have Conquest. Like, they reached out, they're like, "Oh, you got ACO coming up? Yeah. We will fully support this. It's going to a ton of prize support." So Conquest is a pretty something to keep your eyes open for. And then at Lone Star Open, we've added Bolt Action, which makes sense. I mean, the Lone Star Open is our military appreciation event. We should have Bolt Action there, and there's a lot of excitement.
I love that we left the picture of Box eating a Desolator Marine in.
Yeah, if you're watching right now, we have a photo of none other than Vanguard Tax's Stephen Box eating a Desolator Marine, because Stephen Box is teaching a workshop at the Lone Star Open. That would be Friday afternoon.
If you want to learn how to take a bite out of the meta. There's your tagline, Stephen.
I love it.
Send me a check.
And Cruise Hammer. I wanted to share the Cruise Hammer logo. I don't know if we made it into the show notes tonight or not, because I kind of just made it in last minute. That's okay. We've got Cruise Hammer going strong. That is going to be taking place in August, departing out of the New York, New Jersey port. And finally, guys, yes, the Las Vegas Open. Next week, we should have the specific details, but I'll tell you right now, June is when tickets are going to be going up for sale. There's going to be a few brand new additions for the Las Vegas Open, specifically how to make lines go faster at check-in, something that we're very excited about. We planned this about 3 weeks ago, and I'm finally getting to release it and talk about it next week. And we're also really going to be leaning into teams and clubs at the Las Vegas Open. So if you're part of a team or part of a club or an organization traveling together to the Las Vegas Open, stay tuned for next week so you can hear some of these really cool perks you can be able to get.
It's really cool. He told me about it. Sworn to secrecy, though.
Don't go on Reddit and leak it, Seth. Damn it. Come on, don't do that.
For a fee.
Yeah, for a fee. Seth, I think you need to ask. Oh wait,
I'm going to ask this to Nicky D because I think Nicky D is the most Star Wars involved amongst us. Nicky D, what Star Wars character would you most and least want to play 40K with?
Least is easy, and it's really not a single character, but just in general, Jawas. They're little cheats. Yes. They try to steal all your stuff. I don't want to play 40K against Jawas. Yeah. They're just going to be a mess. And also, I'm going to have to be moving their models for them across. They can't reach that table. They're like 3 feet tall. So it's just going to be a bad experience all around if I'm playing against Jawas. But who would I want to play against? Lando Calrissian. Come on. He might also cheat me, but at least it's going to be fun. He's probably going to... There's probably a few bets, a few drinks going around. There'll be a crowd around the table. Anything with Lando Calrissian is 2 thumbs up for me.
So, question.
I could definitely agree with Lando as the best, but you mean to tell me you're not going to put like Vader or Chewbacca in the bottom? Like Vader will force choke you if he loses, and Chewbacca, they literally have a scene where he's threatening to tear the arms off C-3PO for beating him on a tabletop strategy game. I'm just saying, do you like your arms, Nicky D?
I didn't want to go for the low-hanging fruit, but yes, those are good examples. They're from it, and who I would not want to be playing. Because Chewbacca, the arm tearing, not great.
Would you guys want to be playing against Yoda because you get like enlightened the entire time? Get some real wisdom there, or possibly Ewoks because they're cute and cuddly.
Talks and riddles.
Toxin riddles. It would also be the slowest game of 40K. Cool. Well, I actually thought this question was what model or like miniature, like what unit from Star Wars could you drop into the 40K universe and want to do? I was thinking like it'd be kind of cool to have Jawas be in the 40K universe as some sort of like infantry unit or mercenary unit. Not mercenary. You know what? Boba Fett in 40K. That's what I want. I want a Boba Fett bounty hunter that can like kind of like an assassin kind of character. You can just drop him into any army. That's the dream.
Kicker, if that's the question, I'm going with a command squad unit, if you will, of Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, and Grogu.
Of course.
Right, where it's like he's got Grogu's his little familiar coming around with him. That would be my obvious choice.
All right, Seth, you're up. What do you want? We got Boba Fett. We got a Din.
What character do I want to drop into 40K?
Yeah, that you could play with, like in a game of 40K. What Star Wars kind of random ass character?
Do you even have to ask? It's Han Solo every day.
Of course, yes.
What can't he do?
Yeah, right.
He can fly planes. He can infiltrate bases. He can woo princesses. He's the man. All right, just let him do his thing.
Han Solo it is.
Hey guys, I gotta call out some options.
Let's get into the main segment.
I gotta call out an option from the chat here, from Crypt Shadow, Jar Jar Binks. What do you think?
No, I'm gonna leave. I'm done. Second time tonight. I'm out.
Boot that. Seriously, boot that person out of our chat right now. No. I think Jar Jar Binks would be a good like objective marker, like kind of like I don't know.
Jar Jar Binks is target
sort of random ass token.
Jar Jar Binks is what we throw to the squigs to feed. Come on, let's get into the main segment.
Let's get into the main segment. Let's do this. 10th edition news, folks. This is big. We've gotten a lot of releases from Warhammer Fest, a lot of news from Warhammer Fest. We've gotten a lot of news just in general recently. Seth, we're going to start off with gambits and missions for 10th edition. Now, guys, what you're hearing right now are not leaks. This is all provided from Games Workshop directly, so we're not leaking anything ourselves. But we have our unique insight, and both Seth and Nicky D and myself, so I guess all three of us have really focused on trying to take all the information that is out there and consolidate it into this great little podcast episode so that you can know what we know, if not more. Seth, gambits and missions, explain what they are and if you love them or hate them.
So these are going to be divisive. There's no way around it. But they've basically announced what the new mission pack will be, which is similar to like the Tempest of War or the Maelstrom of War decks, if you've messed around with them, where you're going to have a number of cards that represent deployment rules, a number of cards that represent unique mission rules, and a number of cards that represent unique primary, secondary, and gambits. And the way it'll work is you either you can just kind of shuffle and deal them out if you want. But they also describe that some, for tournaments, they might predetermine these in advance and put those in their player packets. So we'll see kind of how the community decides to adopt this. But basically, you could have, if you think about it, if there's 5 or 6 different deployment types, and then if you think about our current rules pack right now, we have 9 missions with some shared deployment types. We have 9 missions that have individual rules, like abandoned sanctuaries, there's no forward deployment, or data scry salvages. If your objective secured on the middle objectives, you become sticky. So if you think of those as like the mission rules, and then the primary right now, we do have 2 types of primary: a hold 2, hold 3, hold more, or hold 1, hold 2, hold more. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do there, but the fact that you can mix and match all these combos goes from 9 missions in our current pack to like upwards of 30, 40 options.
Which is
there.
awesome, right?
So
it's awesome.
I think that gives us a lot of options for us as tournament goers and tournament organizers to fine tune the combos that we like, that we want to see. I was joking around with some of the folks that are running events, and maybe some events don't predetermine. Maybe they do randomly generate their missions, but they do that live on stream after lists lock.
Yeah. I like that.
Or something like that. So there's a lot of cool options there. And then they talked about the secondaries. There's selectable things like we have now, but they can be something you select that you have for the entire game. So something like assassinate or bring them down, or something that you draw each turn and get new objectives each turn to complete, similar to the old Maelstrom of War, which the European meta really liked back during the Maelstrom days of 8th edition. So that's cool because it gives you some options there, some flexibility about what your army wants to do. If your opponent doesn't have something, if the static ones are mostly go kill your opponent, and your opponent doesn't build a list that lets you go kill things, you got another option. But then finally, Kicker, the thing that's really like kind of mind blowing a little bit.
Is controversial here, yeah.
Yeah, the gambits. So basically, the gambits are in turn 3, you can just decide, you know what? I don't want to play the primary objective anymore. I'm not doing it well, whatever it happens to be. So you decide that you're going to play a gambit, and you just say, I'm not scoring primary the same way you are. I'm going to do my own thing now. And it presents you a new way to score primary points. Now, the one that they showed us certainly has caused some controversy because essentially...
share that one in detail, yeah.
Yeah, so essentially what that one is you stop scoring primary points, and they stated that you can score 15 primary points a turn. And at the end of turn 5, you can put units basically within 9 of each table corner, not in engagement range, and a different table corner from each other, and not like battle shocked or anything like that. And you roll, getting +1 for each unit you have in a table quarter. And if you roll a 12 plus, you just get 30 points.
Yeah. Now that's on top of the points you already got for primary, right?
So you kept the points you already had. So there is a chance that you could have a 30-point jump at the end of the game. But and I see why that's divisive, because people are like, so someone could just hit a boxcars and get 30 points on me. That seems kind of unfair. But for those 2 turns, they weren't scoring primary. That means they gave up a maximum of 30 points in primary. You could have been scoring primary during those turns. And you know what they're going to be trying to do come the end of the game now. So I think it's an option. We'll see what kind of other ones we get. But I certainly think it's an interesting option for, hey, I'm on the back foot. And we've talked about it before tactically. Like sometimes you're like, I can't play conservative. I got to play aggressive because my only chance to win is this long shot. Maybe this opens up a few more long shot avenues so that you're never quite out of a game. So I think it could be interesting. I want to see the rest of the cards, obviously, but
those are Hail Mary options, right? Those are Hail Mary options that you don't. Most competitive players are not going to bank on that option. But at least it keeps your opponent honest. Like, hey, they can do something until the very end. So you don't want to just end the game early, because right now it seems like some people, after turn 2, maybe turn 3, okay, the game's kind of like figured out. No, there's this last minute, who knows what could happen option. So it could keep it interesting.
So I think there's a lot of with this deck, I think they can make a lot of diversity of missions. And I think that's kind of one of the big things that you could complain about with the mission packets we've been getting from Games Workshop for this edition is there hasn't been a ton of diversity in the missions themselves. So I think these will kind of provide us with the diversity. And if these gambits and secondaries and primaries are balanced, I could see a lot of really fun games coming out of a system like that. So
and it's kind of a cool concept, right? Like they could release new cards next year, new season. So it's like all of a sudden a whole new set, a whole new deck of cards that you're playing with, keeping it entertaining.
And who knows? Maybe these cards are good for a year. Maybe they're good for 6 months. Maybe that who knows?
So we got to bring in our Space Marine expert right now, Nicky D, to talk about his thoughts on the Space Marine information that's been released. Nicky D, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. So everybody knows the rules for Space Marines are focused on the combat doctrines, which currently in 9th edition, you start in Devastator, you can move to Tactical, you can move to Assault, and that impacts the AP, increases the AP for your weapons, right? Devastator, it's your Heavy and Grenade. Tactical, it's Assault and Rapid Fire. Assault, it's Pistols and Melee. Combat doctrines now totally changed, and as I understand it from reading the article, it's based on the detachment, the Gladius detachment that you're taking, right? So instead of those increasing AP, you get these 3 abilities that you can use each once per game. So these are going to let you do different things like shoot in a turn in which you advanced. In Devastator Doctrine and Tactical, you can shoot or charge in a turn in which you fell back, and then Assault. You can charge. Yeah, you can charge if you advance. So very powerful one-time use abilities that you can really lean into the different specialties and the elite nature of a Space Marine army. So, we're still getting little bits of information. I like these changes. A lot of folks don't like how much AP there is in a game. So removing the AP from combat doctrines is definitely a way to remove AP from the game. So I'm interested to see more, but it's a good start.
We're going to toss it over to Seth right now to talk about the bugs, because you are a resident Xenos expert. I mean, okay, mainly orcs, but bugs are like,
I can be an expert of all Xenos. I'll take this title. I am king of the Xenos.
Take it away. What are your thoughts on Xenos? Because these are the 2 big factions we're getting in the box, right? We're getting Space Marines.
They previewed a couple of data sheets, the Screamer Killer and a few others, but the big thing is their synapse rules, which basically makes their units less susceptible to battle shock tests. They take 3d6 rather than 2d6. And remember, now in 10th edition, it's going to be here's your leadership value, and you have to exceed it with the roll. So you're trying to go above it. So 3d6 is good.
Yeah, and in general, it seems like in all dice rolls in the new edition, the higher the dice, the better the position you're in. That makes it very streamlined.
So it makes their things a lot less susceptible to synapse or to battle shock. And then the flip side is they have the Shadow and the Warp, which used to be a thing that affected Psychers and usually made it harder for them to cast spells. Now it's just a once per game ability where table wide, every unit in your opponent's army has to take a battle shock test.
And that is huge.
Now, I know a lot of people were like, this is not that good, but I'm like, remember what they said battle shock does. It turns your objective control to 0, which Kicker, I don't know if you're a mathematic expert, but come here for a minute, bud.
I am from Louisiana. Math.
Let's just say for a minute, you got 10 guardsmen on an objective.
Yep.
And I have 2 Tyranids. And my guys are OC1, your guys are OC1. What's 10 times 1, Kicker?
10 times 1 is 10, I believe.
So you have 10 and I have 2.
Yeah.
So you win.
So I win.
Well, let's say those basic guardsmen don't have really good leadership and you fail your battle shock test and they're now 0. What's 0 times 10, Kicker?
That is a big old 0, man.
So now I control the objective.
With your 2 little gaunts or whatever bugs. Yeah.
With my 2 little gaunts. So I know you can't rely on what units are necessarily going to fail, but the fact that you can make that test occur across your opponent's entire army, the fact that it prevents them from using stratagems, that's the big one.
Deal. That's the big one, Seth, because if you know you need to really cripple them, suddenly not allowing an army that is dependent on key stratagems to not be able to do them, ouch.
Well, and it messes things up where it's like, oh, maybe that backfill objective unit that was just 1 unit on an objective that your opponent was like, I'm just going to keep them sitting here. It'll be fine. And they fail that battle shock test. So I think the threat of it, I think, is important, as well as when you pop it. Because after you pop it, there's no more threat because it's once per game. So,
but I'm excited by this, Seth, because devil's advocate, we got to point out that some armies, and somebody was just saying in chat, some armies inherently have super high leadership, so are very likely to not be impacted by battle shock tests, right? Because Custodian's probably not going to have to worry.
We've not seen the full Tyranid rules. They may have ways to affect your unit's ability to take a battle shock test.
Fair.
We don't know. So, I mean, certainly, there's like the new Dean's going to yell at me in chat immediately. The new squad that looks like they're based off Lictors.
Yeah, then
like those are like terror
Ryan,
troops.
yeah.
Von Ryan's
Yeah,
Leapers.
those are like terror troops.
There we go. Von Ryan's Leapers.
Yes, Von Ryan's Leapers. Like those, maybe that if that unit attacks something or is nearby something, maybe it reduces that unit's leadership. And then,
wait, doesn't the Psyker Killer Plasma Carnifex thing do some sort of leadership thing? Right? Maybe does it?
Might. I'll have to go check.
I thought it was like if it hits you, because I was reading the rules on its I was reading the gun. If the gun hits you, it does something, right? I thought it does, or it's like look it up. Look it up.
Yeah, the Screamer Killer.
The Screamer Killer.
About the Leviathan box. I'm gonna go look for the Screamer Killer.
Okay,
rules.
you look up at the. Okay, so anyway, your good point though. There might be ways to lower people's leadership or make them more susceptible to battle shock. Now we're talking about Space Marines. We're talking about NIS. Now the reason we're doing that is because they're both in the brand new box. We got to see the full box. It's gorgeous. There's a ton of minis in there. Every single mini in there is brand spanking new. You get the books, you get the cards, you get everything you need to go start playing. But we got to look at those Space Marines very closely. Nicky D, I'm sure you saw them. There's Stern Guard vets in there, and those Stern Guard vets have old school Space Marine helmets in there. So they're new miniatures with old school Space Marine helmets.
Yeah, it's a classic look, and it's definitely something that looks, I think, very appealing for the old school fans. It's a upscaled model, right, for the better sizing versus what's the traditionally Trueborn. So a lot of people love those. I am a Blood Angels player, so I'm a Space Marine player that doesn't really know what guns are. For other Space Marine players, though, I think this has been one of the most excitable kits that comes in this set.
It's going to do a great job of merging, let's call them Firstborn with Primaris, right? You're getting that nice little, mingling in there. Seth, do we have a response regarding the?
Yes. So when you use that attack, it makes that unit -1 leadership and also makes it already take a battle shock test. So
wow,
it's already triggering on its own.
And that's the shooting attack or the close combat attack?
It's a shooting attack.
But the Screamer Killer.
We don't know the rest of the codex. If they stack some leadership debuffs into that codex somewhere, I think we could have potentially an interesting combo on our hands there.
Well, before we start talking about the rest of the bugs, I also want to talk about the Space Marine Flamethrower, guys. This is going to be basically intercessors with this sweet flamethrower. And, we've seen the new Overwatch, the basic concept of Overwatch.
Squad?
Huh? So what?
They're like the Infernus squad?
The Infernus, I can't remember. I'm just going to call them flamethrower guys because it's easy. But yeah, they got big-ass flamethrowers. These guys are going to be brutal in Overwatch. I mean, obviously, right? They're going to have auto hit because all flamethrower weapons have auto hit. And they'll probably pair very nicely with that shiny new lieutenant who's got a combi flamer. So exciting stuff there. Then we've got the bugs. Now, the Tyranids, all those are brand new miniatures. We've got the new Hormagaunts, right? Or, with the shooters, you've got the I don't know my bugs, clearly. But you got new everything. You have the weird, tentacle dude. I don't. Did you catch his name, Seth? What was his name?
Neurotyrant.
Neurotyrant. Thank you. I appreciate it. Xenos expert there. Seth, out of all those new minis, are any one of the ones you're like, that one is the sexy one? That's what I want.
The Neurotyrant has got to be it's the giant brain bug.
It's the giant brain bug. Yeah. So
I'm waiting for Neil Patrick Harris to show up in the Space Marine army to put its hand on it and be like, it's afraid. Come on.
Afraid. Oh, well done with that reference. I appreciate it, Seth. So the NIDs are cool, right? And I think Seth was mentioning it in the pregame show. The poor Tyranid players haven't had a new miniature for 8 years
since 2014. If you don't count the Parasite of Mortrax or whatever it is, it's 14 years. Or it's since 2014. So yeah, they should be super hyped.
Jeez. Well, okay, so we've got this brand new 10th edition box, which is obviously a lot of hype, but we've also got these other big releases that were announced over Warhammer Fest. We've got Age of Sigmar, the Dawnbringer. I don't even know what the hell these things are. Dawnbringer events. Nicky D, what are we going here? Cover my butt.
Tell us more about that, Nicky.
Yeah, because I'm so lost. I don't know anything about Age of Sigmar really. And
yeah. So the way that it has been implied from Games Workshop with the reveal is that it's a series of 4 books that will be progressing the story. Does that sound familiar, 40K players? It should, because we had 4 or 5 books. Each book is going to have a new model or a new character. That's going to come with some of the factions and some of the things. So Fire Slayers, which are the shirtless dwarves, everybody loves them, right?
Of course.
The Nurgle, I forget the name, but the Nurgle, Gloomspite Gits, Maggotkin of Nurgle. Yep, thank you. The Gloomspite Gits, which are the goblins, and then Flesh Eater Courts, which there's been a lot of rumors that Flesh Eater Courts are going to get. They're due for a book sometime soon, so probably not happening in this timeline, but we'll see. So there's going to be some groups having some new models and things like that. But perhaps the most important thing that we got to talk about for Age of Sigmar, actually a little bit of a timeline here, but I'm skipping ahead here. for those watching.
Yes!
Seth, in our chat.
Grunter! Look at this thing.
Let's talk about the visual elements we've got here on screen for those listening.
What is this?
This is a giant angry pig with what looks to be a war boss on top of it. And it's so giant and angry, he looks like he strapped 2 knobs to its butt to ride sidecar with this thing and just slash and smash its way to victory.
It's an Age of Sigmar kill rig. I just love this model. Kill rig all the way.
It basically is, yeah. I will find a way to get my hands on this model and either make it work for 40K, or this might be what finally makes me start.
All right,
I don't know, man. This guy looks sweet.
So that's conversion fodder, or maybe you'll start playing Age of Sigmar. We know you love your orcs. Well, the equivalent to Imperial Guard in Age of Sigmar are Cities of Sigmar. In Cities of Sigmar, these are the Empire models, and those new knights are just gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. They got heraldry, they've got cool helmets, they've got cool weapons, they've got personality. That might get me. I mean, actually, the Lizardmen might get me into the Seraphon.
Yeah, I was like, come on, lizards.
Yeah, the lizards are really cool. The Seraphon are probably what get me to Age of Sigmar, but those new Cities of Sigmar miniatures are gorgeous as well. So Age of Sigmar is looking spicy as always, but finally they're bringing stuff that both Seth, myself, Nicky D. Is there anything that is going to lure you into Age of Sigmar? Or are you going to just stay 40K all the way?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing fantasy. When Age of Sigmar first dropped, I played it for a while before I became one of 2 players in my local community that stuck with it. So it's not going to take me a whole lot. A total range refresh for Skaven would 100% bring me back to playing Age of Sigmar.
You're a dirty, dirty rat.
I love Skaven. I could also, and it hasn't happened yet, but a dark elf. Well, there's the Marathi, her and the Marathi and her bow snakes, but a true dark elf led by Malarion. There's been rumors that they're going to get their own range, kind of as a counterpoint to the Lumineth. That could cause me to pull the trigger as well.
I think they had some really cool Underworlds miniatures. I believe.
They've had it. So, and I mean, whether it's Underworlds or Kill Team, as we've seen in 40K as well, like things in Kill Team often find a way into the larger game. So they keep hinting, and I'm holding, but it's always there.
Well, we've also got Horus Heresy. Horus Heresy had a big old plastic. I just want to call it Catarus Knight,
Knight Cerastus.
Yeah, close combat knight, which is just awesome. Obviously, this is a giant plastic kit that's used for 30K, but I have to assume. I mean, this is just purely an assumption, but it looks like it's got to be able to play in 40K, right? I mean, you got to be able to use it.
Now, chat, have you looked up House Griffin, chat? Because I think a House Griffin paint scheme knight would look great in Kicker's Imperial Guard army.
My olive drab.
I think it could work.
Chat,
some blue and reds.
We're gonna poll chat right now. Should Kicker add a knight to his Imperial Guard army? And
yes, chat, please let us know, because I know what was said personally in our text message conversations, but I want to know what chat thinks Kicker should do.
I mean, I do kind of like the idea of this giant knight just being a close combat specialist. That's kind of badass.
A giant knight running forward with a big old spear.
Yeah, right. Do we want to talk about the book schedule for 30K, or just kind of, there's new books for 30K, basically?
Yeah, new books are coming.
Yeah,
we'll see when they come in.
30K is fun. Don't get me wrong, but my heart lies with 40K, and so if I can use any of those models in 40K, I'd be very happy. But and we can't forget, we've got Kill Team Ashes of Faith. This is a really weird Kill Team set. It's not your traditional Kill Team set that we've been seeing. This is a narrative Kill Team campaign, basically. You've got Imperial agents. I think there's like an Inquisitor's Retinue in there, and you've got a bunch of evil bad guys. You got some cultists.
Evil bad guys,
right? They got spiky bits. They've got mutations. Seth, did you see this box set and were you impressed by it, or is it's just not going to do it for you?
I mean, I haven't got really into Kill Team just because I don't have a lot of time to play games besides 40K.
Look how much conversion potential
for orcs. Okay, where's my conversion potential for orcs?
Right.
I'm looking. I don't see an orc over there.
Fair enough. But okay, this seems like a really fun box because you get such a range of miniatures, right? You get cultists in there, you get Sisters of Silence, you get Scions, and then you get these brand new Imperial agents. So it's got a nice little range of stuff.
It looks good.
I've always liked these
orcs.
Do you remember the Blackstone Fortress box set that came out that had that huge range of stuff in it? See, that's a fun box because there's something for everyone. This is something for everyone, right?
There's no orcs.
There's no orcs. There's no orcs. All right. Well, I'm sorry.
I'm just going to keep going as long as you keep doing it.
All right. Seth, you know what? If you're going to keep on going, start going with what's going on in the Frontline Gaming Network and what our friends are doing.
I can do that, Kicker.
You can do that? All right. Thank you.
Yep. So we've got a media partner page up finally. So if you want to check out any of the shows in the program, they'll be listed there. So you can just find that at FLG. Just Google FLG Media Partners, and that'll find that. A chat might point out that we skipped over one of the reveals, Old Worlds. That's mainly because you can go over to Grimm, and they did a great deep dive on it with all of the massive amounts of releases for Old Worlds. But you can get some good Old World salt going over to Grimm After Dark. Kicker, our good friend Joe is back to his old stomping grounds, one of his original events, the Alamo GT this weekend. So turn that on, give him a watch while you're hanging out and hobbying, maybe working on that night. Our friends over at the Squad Games podcast, that's the Kill Team podcast that you can probably go and check out and get a much more in-depth review of the Kill Team releases than we've been able to give you. They have launched their own YouTube channel now where you can catch their podcast, and it's just Squad-Games. So go check them out. But now I have something that's not necessarily network related because there's some friends of mine that I really just wanted to highlight here, and Kicker, they're friends of yours too. These are the Hobby Goblins, and they're led by Jacob there, and they have a great little commission painting service, and they come to all of the FLG events, and they bring some gorgeous miniatures. Look at that conversion, or not that conversion, that blend from that bright blue to that red. And Kicker, I just thought, I feel like there's something missing in the 40K YouTube space, which is just a good hobby vlog, of some guys just working on commission armies and sitting around and shooting the shit with friends.
It's the real world Hobby Goblins. We need this in our life. We need this reality.
They're helping at every event. They're painting. They're always a ton of fun to hang out with. So I know they could be great guys on camera. They're doing these amazing paint jobs. It would be really cool to watch. How long does it take them to get one of these armies done? How many armies of these guys are cranking out? How many guys are working on it? And I know that they might not be in the most glamorous setup right now, but I think as a community, we would all like to see these guys grow from a small group of hardworking individuals into a big full-blown studio. That's just what I would like to see, Kicker. The community, who knows what they want, but
can the community rise up and pressure them to creating the damn
if the community sees these guys at events, and trust me, you will see them at events if you're in the Southeast, or if you go to any FLG event in the United States, you will see them. Just let them know that you would really like to see some video content from those guys.
I just got a message from chat. We need to be talking about that big tease at Warhammer Fest. Epic? We don't know. Like, what do you think, Seth? So for those of you that didn't, I don't know, follow along, there was this giant teaser of, it looked like a couple different battle forces, and some sort of
it was like an overhead graphic, of big army, like squares,
and there was nothing else said other than you got a bunch of, I guess, Imperial looking stuff and a bunch of chaos stuff. Or it did say, I think there's a Horus Heresy logo, right?
I haven't played Epic ever, so I don't know if it's good. But, the community likes it. Can anyone else hear Kicker, or is it not just me? We have lost Kicker audio. Well, while we're trying to sort that out, we're trying to reconnect Kicker audio. Let me go through the community poll that Kicker posted this week. So the question is, and we talked about this in our group chat, what do we want to poll this week? It was, what is everyone most excited about when it came to Warhammer Fest reveals? So we put up a couple of different options there. We have the skirmish games, Horus Heresy, Warhammer Old Worlds, Sigmar, all the new 40K stuff. And so from least to most, in terms of votes, Horus Heresy came in last with only 4%, which was a little disheartening. We might have Kicker.
Can you hear me?
No Kicker audio. Oh, and now I can hear Kicker.
They can hear me now. Yay.
Kicker, we were just talking about the poll, and I had just told them that Horus Heresy came in at the lowest at only 4%. You want to take it from there, bud?
Ouch. Okay, yeah, that's a shame. But skirmish games, that being Warcry, Kill Team, etc., those came in at a nice 5%, so a whole percent higher.
Yeah,
Yay
so
for that.
about the same. Yeah.
And then we've got Age of Sigmar, hitting at with some new stuff. But I was surprised at only 14%. I thought Age of Sigmar had me stoked, but not what the people wanted. What people want more than Age of Sigmar was Warhammer: The Old World.
People should be more excited about the Magrunta.
Mogra, right? I mean, the Magrunta. I mean, I'm just going to call it a kill rig. The Age of Sigmar kill rig alone was worthy of a few more points of interest. But then we've got Warhammer: The Old World a little higher than that at 16%. But then we got the 40K Space Marines at a whopping 22%. People thought that was the most exciting thing, followed by the 40K Bugs, the Tyranids themselves at 28%. So it seems like out of the whole Warhammer Fest, it was the Bugs.
Yeah, the Tyranids won. And my local group chats would already reflect that in terms of the divvying up of halves of the new Leviathan box set. There's a lot more demand for the Tyranids than it seems the Space Marines.
But that's how you can get the real data, right? Is what box half is being sold for more money online, once people start splitting these up. So yeah. Cool. Do we have any comments, Seth? You want to take a few comments that we saw?
So my favorite one was from Olaf, who has said that he was already working through the Augustus box, which was the last Battle Force for Space Marines, and we'll be buying the new launch box. Looking forward to adding Land Raiders and Drop Rods and Rhinos. He's already on the Transport Rush train, so looks like he's going in on the Space Marines. But we have someone from the other end of the spectrum, Kicker. Dean, our beloved Dean Pritchard in chat with the Coconut Crab Nids, is excited to be painting more dots on more Tyranids. So he'll just get to spend, endless hours doing that paint scheme, man.
I think Olaf hit on a very good point. Transports. I bet they're going to be very, very exciting in the new edition. So, if you're looking at something to paint for the next, few weeks while you're, waiting for the new edition to drop, I feel a good investment is transports. Nicky D, what do you think? Do you think transports where it's at? I know you're excited for your Impulsor.
Yeah, I've got 4 painted Impulsors in my hobby cabinet right next to me as I'm producing the show. I've got another one that's built. Another one that's in a box. So I'm excited. I think the game works really well when you have a mixed approach, right? When you've got some infantry, when you've got some tanks, and when it resembles kind of more what a battle company is supposed to be. At least from my sense, that really immerses me in the narrative of what the war in the 41st millennium is supposed to be. So I am hopeful. The big question, and 2 points, I'm going to tie these parts together. How many points are transports and tanks going to be, right? They're tougher, but how many points are they going to be? That makes a big difference. And then the other thing I've seen people pointing out, especially as we look at Space Marines versus Tyranids, Space Marines look very killy, but Nids look like they can control the objectives. Well, hey guys, right now in 9th edition, right, Votann, they're really good at killing things, but they're not necessarily good at winning the game because they can't do scoring well, right? So that's the big thing. We don't know enough about 10th. Just because you can kill a lot of things on the table doesn't mean you're winning the game. So I'm excited about what we have coming, even though I don't know what most of it looks like yet.
Yeah. Cool. Love it. Seth, how about we hop into the community hobby spotlight? We got some beautiful stuff to show off.
So we had some folks post up some great work this week. James posted up some demons he's been working on. I know he also does some commission work. Looks like we've got the one of the Seeker Chariots, which are a painful item to paint. I will say that. So good work on that.
But why is it painful, Seth? Because I think
because of the many pokey blades.
Oh, okay. Because it's also models on top of models, right? Or like multiple models on one base. Like that gets a little annoying.
It's a lot.
So good job, James.
We then had a man near and dear to my heart, Alan. He painted up a nice purple Stompa. The problem is going to be as soon as he deploys it, he will lose track of it, as we discussed earlier. Once the orcs believe in it, they won't be able to see it. So it's a stealth Stompa. Nice touch. Dean, who we talked about just a minute ago, he busted out some of his Carnifexes to touch up, and then his personal Bio Titan decided that it needed to make a surprise attack. So again, just getting surprise attack from these super heavies. And then finally, Steven has been working on a Lord of Change. So there we go. Lord, I really love this model. One day I'll just paint it for fun, but it has so many different textures on it between the flames and the feathers and the bits of armor and the beaks. So there's just a lot of cool stuff going on there. Plus, I always like the Zinj color scheme with a base of a blue, so it's turned out really well. So great job, Steven. But that's all the community spotlight I had for this week. Kicker, final thoughts for the night, bud. And we've lost Kicker audio again. So I'm going to tell you Kicker's final thoughts. Kicker's excited because he's got a new game on Friday, and he's going to try out a new list. And I think it's going to be all tanks. If I know nothing about this list, but Kicker likes tanks, so it's probably going to be a lot of tanks. And if he can finish the Rough Riders, it'll be those two. Hand signals if I'm right, buddy. Yeah, I'm right. Awesome. This is how you know your friends. Nick, what have you got for final thoughts for the evening?
Yep. I will not be here next week. Actually, a throwback for those who are longtime listeners of Signals from the Frontline. Reese, he, in the early days of the show, would talk about some of his favorite metal bands. This is just me going from memory. I have not met Reese myself, but what I recall from many earlier episodes is that he enjoys some metal bands like Gojira and Mastodon. I will be seeing them next Wednesday night, so I won't be here, but I'm going to be figuring out what I'm painting and getting ready for ACO because I've got a little over a month to prep for it, and I'm really looking forward to enjoying my last tournament for 9th edition.
All right. Well, for me, I'm just going to be going to a little event this weekend, just having some fun rolling some dice. But I'll be back in the saddle next week, so I'll be here. Don't you guys worry. We thank you so much for joining us. Kicker wishes he could be here, but the warp has eaten him. So we really hope you enjoyed this episode of Signals from the Frontline. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday. Bye.